All rise for case 511-19, Doofenshmirtz versus Klaus.
Thank you. You may be seated. Court is now in session. We call case 511-19. Case Klaus versus Hines is now in session. Is the prosecution ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the defendant ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may be seated.
My name is Ashley Anderson, and my client, Klaus Heinrich, he is charging Mr. Doofenshmirtz with rebellious behavior against the government. We ask for a guilty verdict.
Thank you. Defendant?
Your Honor, my name is Chris Sanford, and I'm representing Mr. Hines Doofenshmirtz. And in this case of Mr. Hines and Klaus versus Hines, he is being falsely accused of rebellious behavior against the government in which he did not act in. We ask for a plea of not guilty.
Thank you. You may be seated. Prosecution?
I would like to call Mrs. Doofenshmirtz to the stand.
Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
Miss Doofenshmirtz, please introduce yourself.
My name is Mrs. Doofenshmirtz. I am Klaus Heinrich's mother, and I am married to Mr. Doofenshmirtz, and I am a very loyal and loving German citizen.
Okay. What do you witness in your house?
We're a very normal household. My husband and I, we get in arguments, but that's pretty normal. And we love our son, and he's very involved in his Hitler Youth, and we're a loving German family.
Have you ever heard Mr. Doofenshmirtz dishonor the Fuhrer?
Not directly, but sometimes he can make comments when he's reading the newspaper, and then we can get in conversations, and we get in fights.
How does your husband view the Nazis?
He does not always agree with their actions, so I don't know. I don't really think he likes them.
I object, Your Honor. That is hearsay.
Overruled. You have one more question related to this topic.
How does your husband feel about your son's involvement in the Hitler Youth?
I don't think he likes it.
I'm finished, Your Honor.
You may be seated. Would defense like to cross?
Yes, I would, Your Honor. What was your part in the conversation between you and your husband? Were you agreeing with his opinion?
I don't remember.
So you remember what your husband said, but you don't remember what yourself said.
Yes.
Do you and your husband always do your duties to the government?
Yes, we always do what we're supposed to.
Do you recall what your husband received in the war?
Well, yes, he received the Iron Cross.
Is your husband proud of his achievements for his country?
Yes, he's very, very honored of his achievements.
Does your husband keep up with his current events?
Well, yeah, he reads the newspaper every single morning.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm done.
The prosecution like to redirect.
No, Your Honor.
Any more witnesses to the stand?
Yes, I call up Klaus.
Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
Klaus Heinrich, do you enjoy being involved in the Hitler Youth?
Yes, I enjoy the Hitler Youth. I've made very many friends and it's very fun.
Has your father ever stopped you from participating in Hitler Youth events?
No, he hasn't. He just gets upset at my functions sometimes.
Does your father speak against the government in your household?
No, when he reads the newspaper, he gets upset about things and gets in a bad mood.
So your father does not agree with the government's actions?
I do not think he does.
I'm finished, Your Honor.
Would you like to cross-examine?
No, Your Honor.
You may be seated. The defense may call up your first witness.
Yes, Your Honor. We called the maid to the stand.
Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
Miss Maid, did you ever hear Mr. Doofenshmirtz bash the government?
No, I walked in several times, but they stopped talking when I walked in.
Okay. Did you ever notice Mr. Doofenshmirtz ever stop his child from participating in any Hitler Youth functions?
No.
Okay. At any point did Mr. Doofenshmirtz and Mrs. Doofenshmirtz conversations become more hostile?
At one point it got loud and it sounded like there was some panic.
Alright. Did you see where the boy went after the argument?
I saw him leave and come back in with a chocolate bar, but he was gone for a long time.
Alright. Thank you. We're done, Your Honor.
Would you like to cross-examine?
Yes, Your Honor. Do you think it's suspicious that their conversation paused every time you walked in the room?
No, it's common practice to stop talking about personal issues.
Did you ever hear any part of Mr. and Mrs. Doofenshmirtz's conversation?
I don't recall.
Done asking, Your Honor.
Any more witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. I want to call Mr. Doofenshmirtz to the stand.
Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
Mr. Doofenshmirtz, how did your conversations go with your wife from your point of view?
My wife and I were conversing about the government in a normal way, like most households. We were simply discussing current events in our country.
Do you indeed get upset when you read the newspaper?
I am an anxious man. I get upset easily. My war days made me this way.
So, how does it make you feel when your son goes to Hitler Youth functions?
I get sad. Anytime my son leaves me, it's only when it's for specific functions.
Thank you, Your Honor. We're done.
Would you like to cross-examine?
Yes. Mr. Doofenshmirtz, how did you react when you noticed your son was missing from the room while you and your wife were conversing about the government?
I slightly panicked and raised my voice because I wasn't sure where my son was.
Do you now know where he went?
I was suspicious of his whereabouts, but he returned with a chocolate bar, so I took his word that he went to the grocery store.
I'm done, Your Honor.
Would you like to directly examine?
No.
Any more witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, we will now start with closing statements.
Today, we clearly see that Mr. Doofenshmirtz is guilty of incitement against the government and rebellious behavior. The evidence clearly states that. He openly gets angered by current events happening in Germany. Mr. Doofenshmirtz is against Hitler and the Hitler Youth.
Thank you. Defendant, would you like any time for rebuttal?
No, Your Honor. Can we continue? Maybe we begin?
Yes, you may.
Alrighty. Your Honor, Mr. Doof is a loyal citizen to his country. He fought for Germany in the war and was highly recognized for doing so. His time in war was affected, his health, and anyone could get upset about things they read in a newspaper. Mr. Doofenshmirtz is innocent, and we plead not guilty. Thank you.
You may all rise. The court now goes into recess as the jury deliberates.